This video is Lila Nishmas, Moshe Goldberg from Toronto. He's the one that gave me my first position to be a Baal Tekeya on Rosh Hashana. It seems that this year there's going to be less people going to shul, people will be in backyard minyanim, more minyanim, and there'll be a need for more Baal Tekeya. So I decided, based on my experience, I'm going to put together a few tips, and hopefully this can help people when they're blowing Shofar on Rosh Hashana. The first thing is to practice, and not just to practice, but to practice at least for a month before Rosh Hashana, and approximately 5 to 10 minutes, or more, better 10 minutes every single day of practice. And the reason to practice, there are actually multiple reasons for this, but the reasons are that you need to train your muscles and strengthen your muscles. So it's besides your lungs, but also you need to strengthen the muscles in your lips and your cheeks, and to get your lips and your cheeks used to holding the shofar on it so that it doesn't get sore on Rosh Hashana. So if you do not practice, you don't make the muscles strong enough, that you're using your cheek muscles, and you need to hold your mouth steady with your lips, and if they're not going to be strong enough, they're going to become weak, and you won't be, maybe you'll get out a few tkiyas, but you will not be able to blow the shofar properly. So that's very, very, very important to have this practice every day. The issue is if you don't make your lips used to the shofar, and sometimes you push too hard and it can become swollen, and sometimes I've heard that people, even on Rosh Hashana, they started bleeding, and it can become an issue, which you want to avoid. The other thing is that people are always nervous. If you don't practice enough, you're not sure exactly where to place the shofar, and once they get to position, they want to keep it in exact position, and they hold because they're tense, they hold it very, very strong against their lips, and that causes issues. It could start to bleed, it could get sore, and it's very, very difficult. And even if you get through the first day, you want to be able to blow the second day as well. So that's very, very important to practice for a full month beforehand in order to at least 5 or 10 minutes a day, in order to prepare your muscles, to make them strong enough, and also to get used to be confident to know where to hold the shofar and how to hold it, that you don't have to press too hard under the pressure. The second thing is that especially if you're blowing in front of a tzibur, and the aim said the tzibura, you need two things. You want to be as relaxed as possible, and you also want to have the correct breathing techniques, or the proper way to blow the shofar actually. So number one is we're not blowing the shofar from your cheeks. We don't blow up our cheeks when we're blowing the shofar. It's coming from the lower part, the diaphragm, under your rib cage, or even your stomach. That's where the blowing is coming from. So if you take a very, very deep breath and you want to feel under your rib cage that it's filling up, you take a very, very deep breath. Don't do it too much, because then there's too much air. So you want to do, let's say, fill it up 2/3, and this way, number one, when you do that, it's a relaxing technique, and your body can relax from being tense, which is very important. When the body is tense, the muscles tend to get weak, and that's not good. You need these muscles. You need the muscles to be strong. So you need to compose yourself before you're blowing. You want to relax, take a deep breath, but that deep breath that's the one that you're going to blow the shofar with. You cannot have enough strength to blow from your cheeks or from your upper body. And the other thing is, if you take a proper breath and you hold yourself straight, if everything is straight, your body's straight, upright, and you're holding the shofar straight, and the breath is coming from deep, under your rib cage or from your stomach, that's the way that the shofar, the coil of the shofar, the sound is going to be uniform and straight, which is something that sometimes people have, that the shofar changes the sound in the middle. But if you take the proper breath and everything is straight, then it just goes straight out. At the end, I'm going to say how to stop the tkiya in order to keep it from going up or down. So Yeah, so basically you want to stand straight. Also, the more, if you're moving any side, if you move your head down or your body is not straight, then it's hard for the air to go through all the passageways to come out. It has to come from below and come out straight as possible without anything blocking it. And with that, you're going to have the strength to keep on blowing, because it doesn't exert so much energy when you're blowing from within, from deep down. The other thing is that you want to keep on taking breaks. For example, one of the things that, in my experience, which I recognize mainly on the first time that I blew, after you make the bracha and the Baal Makra says Tkiya, the whole room is quiet, and you end up having extreme, you become very tense and anxious, because now everyone's waiting for you to blow the shofar. So again, I said before to try to calm yourself down as much as possible, but one of the ideas to do is to take a moment. Don't blow the second the Baal Makra says Tkiya. Right when you finish the bracha, that's when you want to take the breath. You have to focus the whole time beforehand, otherwise you forget. You want to focus and take the breath right when you finish the bracha, and don't be pressured to get the Tkiya out the second the Makra says Tkiya. You could even speak to the Makra beforehand and talk to him and ask him to wait a few seconds before he says the Tkiya, possibly. Yeah. And so basically, right when you finish the bracha and the Makra says Tkiya, that time you're taking a deep breath, and you're gonna you could wait till you're relaxed and then blow the shofar. And the same thing is throughout the tkiyas, when you get a chance, especially between each seder, between each set, you want to take a chance to compose yourself again, relax, and take the proper breaths, and take that moment. It feels like eternity when everyone's quiet, but it's not really so long. It's a few seconds, and you're just taking those breaths to catch up and to get that energy again. So again, it's breathing from below, and you also want to keep straight and steady, and make sure to take the proper breaths, and you can wait a second to compose yourself. The other thing is, which is very important, the first few koilos, many people are able to get out, but after a while, what happens is that from your breath, the condensation buildup in the shofar or from saliva, it comes out into the shofar over time, and suddenly the shofar doesn't work properly anymore. So this is suggested after every set. Take that second, and you can talk to the makra beforehand. Take something, a shmata or a paper towel or something that's not going to leave too much lint, and you stick it inside the shofar to make sure you're getting out the condensation and making sure it's dry. If the shofar is dry, it's going to blow better. And the other thing is that people sometimes wash their shofar out with water. Some people say you should never wash the shofar with water. I don't know what's correct or not, but if you're going to wash it close to Rosh Hashana with water, the water may still be there, and that's going to cause issues. You want the shofar to be very, very dry by Tkiyah shofar in order to blow properly. The other thing is that you want your mouth to be very clean when you're blowing the shofar, because people eat beforehand, and you don't want anything staying in your mouth. So you want to rinse your mouth out really, really, really well a few times before you blow the shofar. And the same thing is, be mindful of what you're eating beforehand. You don't eat things that will get stuck in your mouth. You don't want something to come out while you're blowing the shofar. So again, you want to keep the shofar clean and dry. Lastly, Minig Ashkenaz in many places is to have the tkiyas and the shvarim, everything is straight. There's no waves. There's no the coil is uniform, and there's no ups and downs. If that's your minig, then you want to make sure that when you start and stop the tkiyas, you put your tongue by the opening of the shofar, That way, it starts clean and it ends clean. When you stop, you finish the Tkiyah, don't take the shofar away and don't wait till the wind goes out. When the Tkiyah is over or the shvarm is over, you're blocking it with your tongue. And that's the same way, that's how you do the truas. If anybody's wondering how to do the truas, you just do with your tongue. You're putting your tongue and blocking the passageway to make sure the air doesn't go there. You do it very quickly, and that makes the trua, according to this minhag, most places in minhag Ashkenaz. And one very important point is also to make sure that the shvorims are not too long. You want to keep the shvorims short enough that they don't become a tatkiya. And this is, if you have a makra, the makra will probably tell you, but if you're not doing it with a makra, then you want to practice enough times beforehand to know in your mind how long a shvarim is. If you practice it many times, you could come up with something in your head, either to count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or something like that, and then you know what the shear is, or 1, 2, 3, whatever the shear is. You want to make sure that you're doing it in your head, because if you don't have a makra, it's very difficult to know not to make it too short, not to make it too long. I hope this video helps you. Thank you very much. You should have a ksiva, chasima toiva, a good gebenst yor.